Hello, each and every single one of you, and welcome to Beyond BMR. I am, of course, your host, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and joining me in Studio B from the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. My co-host, the lovely Krista. Go over and subscribe to Krista and Brandy, the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast. Got a great show tonight. Barb Hartman joins me all the way from Washington State. She's got activity. She's got something going on. Bigfoot and more. We'll be bringing up the lovely Barb here in a few minutes. Beyond BMR goes beyond the mysteries of the world. We take out a deep dive about all things strange, from Bigfoot to Dogman, UFOs, aliens, the paranormal, and time travel. You got it here. I believe these things are all connected. Do you? Find out. Stay tuned. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube, the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube, and of course Texas Front Porch, Bart Nunnally and Humanoids. Check out Bart Wednesday nights 9 o'clock live. If you'd like to help support the channel, what we do around here, the Super Chat is open. Super Chat is a great way to help support what we do around here. I do appreciate that. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Spreaker Radio, wherever podcasts are found, including KPNL Radio. Thank you to the lovely Selene out in Oregon for that. And speaking about what we do around here, everybody tune in Monday night, 8 o'clock to 11, Texas Front Porch. First hour, you got Danielle Diva. The Tex keeps it rolling with his Cryptid show. Tuesdays, 9 o'clock in East, Beyond BMR with Krista. Wednesdays, Bart Nunnally and Humanoids, 9 o'clock in the East. Thursday, 9 in the East, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast with Krista and Brandy. They come on at 9 o'clock in the East. And if you need more woo with the booze, you get the girls again Friday at 9 in the East. Check them out back to back. Double your pleasure with the Blondes and the Booze. Saturday, Tinfoil, Truth or Tinfoil. You can find that on the Truth or Tinfoil channel. Streaming also on Texas Front Porch. That's 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with Brandy and Randy. And then right after that, it rolls into Infamous Minds with Tex. True Crime. If you like true crime, that's where to be on Saturday. So thank you for that. Also, I want to thank everybody for coming on in today. And of course, as a lot of you guys are kind of know already, we've got the Alabama Bigfoot Conference taking place at the Performing Arts Center in Anniston. That's June 7th and 8th. Tex Weston, the master of ceremonies. Speaker lineup is as follows: Barton Nunnally, Daryl Denton, the Blondes and the Booze, Jason McLean, Greg Ogles, Martin Groves, and yours truly, BMR. Tickets $30 online, $35 at the door. June 7th, we're having a meet and greet at a location. I don't know where it is, some restaurant over there. Come on down and check us out. Now, already, all the reservations, we had people RSVP this event. It's already booked, but the bar, the restaurant, they're not going to turn you away. Certainly we won't either. Let's pack that in. Let's have a full house over there before the actual event on the 8th. So that's awesome. You can check that out on the website, and I think it's BamaBigfootConference.com. I want to thank everybody for buying my book, Bigfoot Michigan Rob Presents True Cryptid Encounters. Book one, found on Amazon. Just type in Bigfoot Michigan Rob on your browser. It'll pull up the links in this chat, the links on my YouTube page. You can find it wherever you go, as long as you're following any of us here on the channels across the board. So I want to thank everybody for that. And we do have a great show, and we're going to get it started here. And I'm going to bring up my lovely co-host, Krista.
Hey.
Hey, what's happening?
It's Tuesday. It's not Monday, so we're good.
Yes, it is. It's close.
I hate Mondays.
I know you do. Most of us, Monday is nobody likes Mondays, including me. Tuesday is good because I got the show. Then Wednesday I kick back, and it's the middle of the week. And Thursday I got the show. Then Friday rolls around, and Then you got the blondes kicking off my weekend.
Yep.
So that's always fun.
Yeah. Just like Mondays, I never want to get out of bed to go to work in the mornings, and the days always drag.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hate Mondays.
It is. At least you're fortunate you work Monday through Friday.
Hmm.
A lot of people, when I try to book guests, it's like everybody works 7 days a week. Or if they work 5, they work the weird schedules. My
Yeah,
nephew's in the auto business. He works Monday and Tuesday day shift, Wednesday off, Thursday midnights, Friday off, and Saturday afternoons. I mean,
I couldn't do that.
well, that's how it used to be until when they renegotiated the contracts with the UAW back last 6, 7 months ago. They got rid of that. Now their standard day shift is day shift, afternoons, midnights is midnight. So they
Right.
got that because they've been running that for a while. Back when I worked in the big three, we did that. And that was just
That
terrible.
would be rough.
You don't know, you can't schedule or plan anything.
No, you can't. And
Even when you know,
honestly, I can't. I'm not one that can work nights. I have to have days.
I didn't mind midnights, although I rarely worked it because I was in management where I worked. But I occasionally had to do the 1 week stint a month, usually, and it just throws off your whole week and messes up your sleep.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
but especially for these guys who got to do it week in and week out.
Right.
So I'm glad they did away with that for my nephew's sake. I know that was driving him a little batty.
Right. No, I hear you. I couldn't do it. I'm a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 type of girl.
I want to say hi to everybody in chat because I always
Hi.
thought I was going to be able to greet everybody as they rolled on in, but we already got over 40
Can't.
people in chat.
Yeah.
We're growing a little bit. And by the way, speaking of growing, if you're not subscribed, now subscribe to Krista on text. I am 9 subscribers away from hitting 3,500. So if you are new here, so it's not the milestone. 5,000 is the milestone. My good friend Catherine Gay, sitting in chat, says, Rob, you're gonna get 5,000 by May. And I told Catherine, well, if I could get 5,000 my goal is 5,000 by the conference. That's more.
You just might hit it.
That's a
You never know.
possibility. So thanks for Catherine for being a big supporter of mine. Everybody, you're all great supporters of my show, Krista's show, and
Absolutely.
Tex, and of course Barton and all of our great friends across the board. So
Yep.
I've been looking forward to this show. I know.
Mhm.
I met Barb a couple times. I was on a show with her. I'm sorry, Barb, I forgot the name of the show. It was with. You can talk about that a little bit more briefly when you come up. But I was looking forward to having Barb on because she's got some cool stories. She's got a lot of cool things
Mhm.
going on in Washington. I always like having
Yes.
a person on from the Pacific Northwest.
Mhm.
I know that Bigfoot's in all the states, but it seems like when you think Bigfoot, you think Pacific Northwest. At least I know I do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had Barb on our show. I think it was back in December, and oh my gosh, she's got some crazy stuff going on out at her place. So this would be a good show.
Yeah, it'd be a great show. And without further ado, I'm gonna bring up the lovely Barb Hartman from Washington.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hey
Barb.
Barb.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. I know we set this up several months ago. I think
Yes.
we set this up like before Christmas.
Yeah, that's how it goes. I know.
And so when I set up people like way in advance, I always keep your name pinned on my messenger, my phone. So every morning when I look at my phone, there's Barb, there's Joe Blow, there's Susie, all the people coming up, so I don't
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah.
And I do write it down on the calendar. And Krista's a great administrator. She has all these spreadsheets and calendars.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
she does more than Krista does a lot of behind the scenes. In fact,
That's
she's also going to be playing some audio for me because I just suck at it.
I need a Krista.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, you were on. I do a podcast with Grizzly on the Grizzly on the Hunt channel,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
and Krista and Brandy were on there also. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love having you guys.
Yeah,
Love
that is
watching.
I should have asked you so many different things, Barb. After the show, send me your links, and what I'll do is I'll put it in this video because I know a lot of people are going to watch it after it's over
Awesome.
or during.
Thank you.
Plus, my mods will probably find you and drop your stuff too because they're pretty good at that. So
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
looking right now.
Gary,
So,
and Roger. Yeah, I know a lot of people. Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and Paranormal Pixie. Thank you guys. That's
yeah.
nice word
No,
from
we
it.
have a great. Thanks to everybody in chat for coming on in. Hello to everybody. I appreciate you, and I appreciate this guest. And thank you, Barb, for taking time out. And I'm excited. I'm excited.
My pleasure.
So, for people that don't know you, just give us a brief background and how you got involved in this crazy thing.
Well, I'm originally from Pennsylvania, born and raised, and I've kind of always had, I'd say, like a little bit of a fascination, with Bigfoot. I remember my dad showing me the Patterson Gimlin film, when I was little, and then but then watching the what is it? The Monster of Boggy Creek. What am I? That movie,
Right?
Yeah.
Legend of Boggy Creek.
Yeah, Legend. Yeah, that's it. And oh my gosh, and that just, I don't know, it just really stuck with me. But I always thought that it was something that that would be more like Pacific Northwest, or I don't know, like deep South, like in the Bayou or something like something like that.
Right.
So we moved out to Washington State in 2013. And I was kind of excited though when I found out that the county that we were moving to is the #1 like hotspot, for Bigfoot in the whole country.
Wow.
But I never thought that I would be having them literally like in our yard. And so the house we moved into, this house in 2017, September of 2017, and the next spring in April is when my husband found a few tracks under the house. So that's how it started.
Wow. So was your husband a believer too, or was he like, no?
No, I think the possibility, because we were both, I'm way more into it, and than he ever is, but I think a healthy skepticism, and he keeps me, grounded, but this was something when he found those footprints, he's like, I don't know what else to say about, like, I can't, there's no explanation for this. He's a hunter and grew up on a farm, and so when he said this bare footprint, and it was like 18 inches long. So yeah.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I was saying hi to a lot of the people in chat. If I missed you, I apologize. So yes, so prior to your movie, Pennsylvania, by the way, I just dropped a video last weekend, the Pennsylvania Dog Man. And I tell you what, I've gotten in touch with 2 or 3 people from Pennsylvania all about Dog Man. I've done videos. That, before we move on to your current location, Pennsylvania's creepy as well. Did you find anything creepy in Pennsylvania at all?
No. I grew up in an area that had a lot of paranormal, supposedly activity, in my hometown, but no, I never had anything like that. I know that close there were some reports of Bigfoot back in I think the 80s, really close, like Jonestown Mountain was pretty, but no, I never saw or had anything with Bigfoot or cryptids.
Yeah. And I hear like you said, Rob, Pennsylvania is a hotspot for the cryptids.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, Ohio, all that area.
Oh yeah, it's creepy. I forget the name of it. You'll have to, it's been a while, but there's a certain part, something ridge in Pennsylvania.
Chestnut Ridge. Yeah.
That is supposed to be spooky.
Yeah, with everything is going on there. They have, from paranormal to cryptids, a bunch of people actually, because I just talked to the guy, John Stasko. I talked to him last week on our podcast, and he was there with a news crew and saw a Bigfoot. Like, it was right there with a bunch of people.
Wow.
Cool.
Wow. Well, we're going to get on with what you got going on by you. I first want to thank Gary Spikes for becoming a BMR pirate, and the lovely Laura Pixie. She gifted 5 Bigfoot Mr. Pirate R memberships. Thanks. So we gotta get the R out of the way. It's very easy. So thanks for that. Once again, thanks, Barb. So yeah, When you're describing your property, you're in a rural area, is it? You have a
Mhm.
farm, or are you surrounded by the woods? How's this all?
Yeah, it is it's very rural. It's a peninsula, and we're surrounded by the Puget Sound on all three sides.
Wow.
We live on we're like waterfront, and then on at our property is we have a neighbor, one neighbor on to the side of us, but then everything else is woods, and then there's a horse pasture in front of me. There's a farm a couple acres away, but just tons of wood, and it's very very heavy, deep woods, like like that. Just like you think about Pacific Northwest, just heavy, dense forest. So, and that's what I have that I live alongside of. So,
I tell you what, right around the Puget Sound, I mean, water on both sides, the woods. You can't ask. I tell you what, even if I was not into Bigfoot or anything like that, I think I'd like to retire one day in a
yeah.
place like that. I really would.
We love it. That's our plan, and we never thought that we would, be out this. We never. Oh, neither of us were even. I don't think we ever were to the West Coast. Well, no, we both came to California once prior to moving out here, but we'd never been. But we just love it. Love it.
What made you decide to move out there?
My husband's job had transferred. Yeah, had transferred us out here, and and looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, is that even like looking at a map? Is that even in the United States? Because we're almost in Canada.
Right.
But yeah. But
So once you walk us back when you kind of had the notion something was going on over there.
Yeah. So like I said, the first thing was the footprints, and but it just seemed too as I guess obsessed, I guess you'd say, as I was with them. It still didn't seem like anything as much as I believed in them, but that I would ever experience. I don't even know how to explain that. Do you guys know what I mean? Like that's the only thing I can explain. And really, like, I don't like, did I even want to? That was the thing, like, to think about, did I even want to? But and I had told a couple people this, but when I knew that they were real was we went camping in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, which now I know is a hot spot. We had went disbursement camping, which is basically you like tents. It's very primitive. There's no services. You just go out into the national forest and drive until you find a spot. And so we were a couple miles in, and we didn't even like come across across anybody, couldn't see anybody. And that night it had started to rain as soon as we got set up and blah, blah, blah. But everybody we left our phones in our cars because there's no service. So about, I don't know, in the middle of the night, don't know, because I didn't have my phone. Middle of the night, I wake up to these like, oh my gosh, these screams and yells. It sounded like I hate to say this, like deranged mental patients. That's a terrible thing. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But it was like, that's the only thing. And it was and then with howls, like it was just the scare. I laid there, like I was terrified. And I was so scared. I didn't want to even wake my husband up, because I thought, if these things can hear us, I don't want them to, call any attention to us.
Sure. Did you happen to have any pew-pews in the tent with you, or?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we did. But I was just so afraid that again, call attention. Now they were probably, I don't know. I'm not good with distance and, audio wise, probably half a mile away, maybe more. I don't know. But it was about like maybe 6 to 8 of them. And they were on both sides. Like as I'm facing, whatever direction I was facing, I could hear them coming from my right side and my left side. And they were going, so, but I still like as afraid as I was, I still thought, okay, I still don't know. I didn't even say anything to anybody. We ended up going home the next day, thank God, because I was like, oh, I hope I don't hear this tomorrow night. But I couldn't wait to get home and look for, animal sounds. Cause as I'm listening to them, I'm going through like all the known animals that I know, are in Washington State. And it didn't sound like any animals. It really sounded just more like human, but the sustained force of these calls, I'm like, that I just can't see that a human, anyway. So yeah, so I came home and did research, and I couldn't find anything, any type of an animal. And I talked to my husband about it, talked to my son about it, and I really even couldn't find like a Bigfoot call though that was anything that sounded like it.
Mhm.
But a few months later, I heard I think it's the Ohio screams or howls or whatever, and that was
Ohio howl, yeah.
yeah, and that was similar. And so now since then, you know, I've heard a few, but that was the one that I was like, oh yeah, that's what I heard. So like,
Wow.
so but you know, okay, so but we were over an hour away, so I'm thinking that's cool, but let them stay there because I don't want to hear
Right.
anything like that. But you know, so from that time, which was like I said, 2019, up until probably let me think, December of 2021, just weird things like tree structures that would really change in the woods, because I love to walk around in the woods and hike woods. But that would change a lot. But I honestly didn't know that much about tree structures. My interest in Bigfoot would be like, you know, watching a documentary.
Right.
Yeah.
Something, you know, I wasn't really into a lot of podcasts because I just didn't know who to watch and what to,
Sure.
you know. So again, I didn't know what to look for, but then I started to kind of say, well, wait, you know, like, or if I'd run into a picture, like, wait, that is like something that I saw. The weirdest thing is that in December of, let me think, what was that year? 2021, we had a big snowstorm right after Christmas, and we're all kind of snowed in. And my son and my son-in-law and I, we go for a walk in the woods, and we found this, and it looked like a little, like an igloo shaped structure. But it was made out of wood, completely out of branches woven together. And we're like, oh, that's pretty cool, you know. And my son said, oh, I don't know, maybe bushcraft. And I'm like, I know it's not bushcraft because of where this is it's like a private land, and it's very heavily guarded. So I have permission, thank God to be there. But I'm like, I don't think so, unless, you know, who knows? Maybe it was the owners or whatever. Right. I didn't know for sure. So my son crawled in it, and it was only about maybe like 4 feet tall, 6, maybe 8 feet wide. I'm not sure. I'll actually have to measure it sometime because it's still there. And he crawled in but he said, like, he went in, and I'm like, I don't think you should be in there. But he said, no, Mom, it's okay. But he said he did think that maybe there was it was dug out like around like a tree, because it's kind of like alongside of a tree. And then let's see, that was that. So my son got married in March of 2022, and we had cleaned up the backyard, and we have a lot of, because we live on a very steep lot. So the backyard is very steep. There's a lot of steep, like, I don't know, flower beds, whatever. We have to have these plants that that stabilize the soil here because it's so steep. So yeah, like I said, so we have a lot of that. And so I knew that the yard, you know, everything's cleaned up, has a wedding, it's great. About a week later, I look out, and there's this whole side of this one embankment is like torn up. The plants are the vines are torn up and like ripped apart. And it's like, wait a minute, how did that happen? And my husband said, well, maybe because we were, when we were doing the landscaping. I'm like, no, babe, like, let's go out and look. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't know what to tell you. If it was an animal, we have home security cameras, like with a, peripherally around the, so it wouldn't have been an animal. Again, that's weird, whatever, cool, but not, certainly not. I really was thinking maybe bear. I don't know. But so then in September of 2022, it's wildfire season at that, like in August and September. So we're getting worried because there's a lot of wildfires. So fortunately not near us, but anyway, in Washington State. So I said, let's clean up the woods around us. We got to get this cleaned up because it's like a little tinderbox, Right. So we cleared out alongside of our house, cleared out a lot of the little underbrush stuff. And so, got it all. I'm like, oh, look, we have a nice view now into the forest. So I don't know if it was like within days, we look out, and my husband's like, "Oh, I think your Bigfoot friends are back." And because there was a tree, like a break about 15 feet, and it was just a perfect, like a perfect.
Right.
And then so we go out, and he's like, "Oh, and we hadn't had a windstorm or anything like that." And so it was also, it's like broken, but it's that twist, the twist.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, now that's kind of cool. 10 days later, there is another tree that is now bent down and tucked under that first tree. So it's a perfect X. So now I start sending it to like people that I know that know about Bigfoot,
Right.
and they're like, "Oh yeah, that definitely looks like something that, that they would make." And then Mike Scott said, he said it's probably like they're maybe building a blind, because if they could see into your house, but you couldn't see into their, house, like the forest.
Right.
You don't want that. So now they're going to, build like like a little wall. So he's like, yeah, you got to get out there and see what you can find. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I really want to see one though. But so he said, well, yeah. So he's like, well, just go out but whatever. But if you really want to see one, don't take your phone. So I'm thinking, I'm definitely taking my phone, because I do not want to. I don't want to. Not ready to see one. So so I decided one day, finally get up the nerve, I'm going to go out and look around in that area where I found that wood igloo, found some other stuff. Going to go around. But it is so beautiful. So I was out there for probably about an hour, and I had my phone in a lanyard, like a plastic lanyard that hangs around my neck, like for boating or whatever. And and because I thought I always have that with me when I'm outside. So maybe if they're there, I can trick them. And anyway, so I had the video running. So go, like I said, walk around. And then I was saving the part where the little wood igloo, I was saving that for last. I got about 15 feet of that, and I hear this, and it was like, oh my gosh. And it was that, like, I could feel it in my chest.
A really quick, Barb, how big was this wood igloo?
It's only about 4 feet high, and I like 6 to 8 feet wide, and probably all around. That would be all around. Now there's definitely there's definitely like a way to get it, to get into it, but I don't think like a large Bigfoot would not be able to get into that. If it was really big, maybe for juveniles, I don't know. Or
maybe just a place to bed down, take a nap.
Yeah, I'm thinking
more the juveniles,
like a playpen almost, like, I don't know. That's what it. So I hear this, and it's like, oh my gosh, like that's. And so I backed up, and I thought, I don't want to like just run, because if it's some, so I don't know what it would. The reason I was thinking that it had to be, that was probably because of that feeling in my chest, like that same feeling in my chest that I got when I was hearing those things screaming at each other, But so I back up, and then I decide, okay, good, I'm gonna turn around. As soon as I turned around, I got this like extreme like vertigo, and I mean, it was just like, oh my goch, like I'm thinking, am I having a heart attack? Like, am I having a stroke? What's happening? And I was so disoriented. But I thought, okay, just, you can't like have this right here in the like in the woods.
Right.
So my family knew where I was, but I'm thinking that I could be out there for hours, But anyway, I was kind of like panicking, but then all of a sudden it just left me. Like it was like normal, like I was normal. It completely left me. Then I realized I'm walking the completely wrong direction to my house now. And this isn't a huge area. I don't know why I was going. It was so weird. It was like, I don't even know how to explain it. I was just like in a,
right.
Then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. No. Okay. Corrected my course, and I could see, we have an outbuilding, and we call it like a carport. I thought, I'm just going to keep my eyes on that, and I'm just going to walk, I'll be fine. But then that feeling hits me again. And this time it was even worse, that I was like, it was just so, like, each step was hard, and I wasn't sick to my stomach, but it was just, I was so dizzy and so disoriented, but I just kept watching the roof and walking toward the roof. And then I thought, I'm going to be fine, Barb. Don't, come on, just do this. I get like right to the edge of the property, right to where that carport is. And it left me. I mean, I was like completely normal, like it was gone. And I didn't know anything about infrasound. but I guess, I mean, I'm sure that's what it had to have been. I've never had anything like that since, and I never had anything before that. So I was then I'm like, wow, what an experience. I run down to the house and then I look at my phone. I'm like, oh no, my phone's dead. So I don't even know, right? Like
And
what?
Barb,
Yeah.
this was in 2022, you said?
It was September of 2022. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, look down at my phone's dead. So I'm like, whatever. I don't know when it turned off. So I brought it in, plugged it in, and I'm telling my family, about what happened. And I'm all excited. And they're like, oh yeah, you heard of something grunty? Yeah, sure. I mean, I could tell they were like, oh brother, here she goes. But then when my phone came back up, I had got the grunts, those two grunts on my, and you could hear them. So it was like, oh my gosh, yay.
Wow.
So, and that's really like when things just like started to kind of, go into
Right.
full,
So wait a minute now. This is just
Yeah.
the warm up. This is
Yes.
the warm up.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you really briefly though before we get into that, and we got some audio too that
Mhm.
we're gonna play. You think that these Bigfoot were always there? Do you think that, or something about you, or perhaps your husband, who knows, that they kind of picked up a sense on? Or do you think that it's just they're always predominantly there?
I think that they've been here.
Okay.
And because the house sat vacant for a long time, it's 40 years old, but the woman that had built it which was this one owner before us, and she was rarely here. She was like a snowbird, like they say. So she'd go to Arizona in the winter. So I think that that they're like, oh well, what's this always going on, because we're outside, we're renovating, so there's always like stuff going on, fun stuff for them to watch. And so that's what I think. And they probably like, I love animals, I love wildlife, so it's not unusual for me to be like talking to the birds, we have deer occasionally, and I'm like naming the deer and all that, so I think that could be part of it. So,
wow.
But so I, how I got the audio, is that our home cameras, our home security cameras, like I said, there's like a periphery, around, and they are the like IR, it's just Arlo, the IR cameras.
Okay.
So what they're motion activated. So we would get like a bunch of movement, motion, like sensors, but wasn't anything there. And it got to the point, like it was like shortly after that, I think probably in October, November, we got so many of them. And it's like, darn it, there's nothing on these. You might get one or two, not even like now, not even like in a day, like never. And it was like I get 10 overnight, or like 15, 20. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. And nothing there. So I thought, what if is there a way that I can watch myself right after we get one of those, So that's what I started to do. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I can actually record that. So what I started to do is, when I would get that, I would automatically, look at the camera, and it's usually at night. And as soon as I turn the camera on, I hit, I start to record. So that has worked. And that's how I've been able to get a lot of pretty decent audio.
Wow, fantastic.
And it's like, sometimes I have to say, like, I get so scared when I'm listening to it. I literally have to like turn the volume down, because I have in the past, like I'll just turn my phone off, and I'm like, no, I can't do that. So now I just turn the volume down and keep it running, because I just, it gets scary.
Wow.
I know the feeling really quickly. Gary Spikes Jr.
Yes.
Senior's son, who's always in the chat, played me some howl that he recorded on his property or somewhere. And I gotta tell you, it was with Tex and Gary Jr. We were doing like a live stream, but we were just having like a little meeting. We were just BSing, one day. And he played me what he had, and talk about being scared, because my howl, scream, roar, what I had happen to me was something I'll never forget. And when they played that for me, it wasn't identical to what I had heard, okay? But it just reminded me. And I tell you what, sitting here in studio, just, in my house, hearing that,
Mhm.
so eerily similar to what I experienced. Tex goes, man, this is the summertime. And this is much like how I always describe how Cindy, her
Mhm.
body was drained of alcohol. He goes, and this was summer, I had a tan.
Yeah.
Tex goes, dude, man, your face just turned white. And when I heard that,
Mhm.
I was taken back
Yes.
Mhm.
to that time.
Mhm.
And I literally had goosebumps, was that scared.
Mhm.
And that's why I love audio. I love listening
Yeah.
to it, whether and trying to break it down. And since then, I try to listen to all the sounds of the forest, so I'm familiar with it.
Mhm.
And we got some audio. I don't know what order any of it's in.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Um,
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't
if you
matter.
if you want to play something, Chris, so we got we're
Okay.
not, and
Yeah, I
we'll
could
just see.
probably describe it maybe after I hear it.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's
Like
give
if
this
I
a
even
whirl.
remember. Yeah.
Okay.
All righty. Let me get to them.
Oh, jeez.
Am I supposed to do something now, Krista? Okay.
Did it play?
Yeah, that's why I asked if I was supposed to do something, add it to the stage.
Okay, so we'll start over. Yes. Let me start
I
that one over and we'll add it to the screen so people can see it.
Oh yeah, okay.
No problem.
Is that me or to add it or you? I'm
Okay.
sorry, we're done.
You add it to the screen. I'm playing the
Oh,
video.
okay. Yeah, it's
Wow, that gave me the goosebumps.
that's kind of creepy. Oh, you're on Barb. You're not on. You're muted.
Oh, Barb's
Sorry.
on- No,
We're
you're good.
babysitting my son's or whatever, dog sitting my son's dog. And so he starts barking when he hears the big,
Did,
you
did
know,
so-
this
did I
sounds
hear
really-
somebody say? Yeah, did somebody say what's that in that video? I heard someone say what's that?
No,
no?
no.
Oh,
I
I
didn't
thought I
know.
picked up on that. Okay.
We'll
No,
have to
that's-
listen to it again.
Yeah,
because,
that's weird.
yeah.
Oh.
No, because that's actually like I'm recording it right from the like through the app on my phone, And then I had Chris Hensley, he's been kind enough to run all of my audio that I like release, through a spectrogram or graph or whatever. So you can
Awesome.
I know that it's outside of the range of human and animal and stuff. But that one, it's funny because what they do is they like to mimic animals, and in that one they like to mimic like the geese or the water birds. And so it's like one night I heard like it was like a quack quack quack, and then that the thing was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know, it's really funny. So that was what they were doing that night. I don't know if they're trying to like teach the little ones. I don't know, Rob, but weird.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, perhaps teaching them. It's just kind of weird that they would even teach around your property. You know what I mean? Seems like they would be way in a remote area.
Yeah.
There's something about in your area where they're comfortable with. You get the feeling. Let me ask you this: you get the feeling that sometimes you hear some people say they get that dread feeling. I think it's more with Dogman though than Bigfoot.
Mhm.
You don't get as many people. Oh my God, fear for my life thing when it comes to
Yeah.
Bigfoot. But do
Yeah.
you ever get any sense that they're around? Can you sense when they're around your property?
Not really. I can't say that. And I can't say like now I'll tell you, when I'm in the woods, when I'm over in the woods, I can tell. Like I can not that I feel like they're watching me. Definitely have that feeling
You got
that they're
that? Okay,
watching me.
now that's a
Yes.
common one.
Yes, definitely. But I've not had any like mind speak or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely, as a matter of fact, the first one that I saw, well, I saw it through my camera. This was in, let me see, December of 22. Yeah, so December of 22, I was walking over there, and I thought, wait, I feel like something's watching me. And I look through the camera, and I'm like, it looks like something sitting there, but the face was like just like tree bark. So I'm like, maybe it's part of the tree. I don't know. But I was able to get it on. I was able to record it, and then I came home and watched it, and you can see like just one time, like a brief that the eyes blink. But other than that, it literally looks like a face, but like looks like tree bark, really skin. So then I went back the next day and it wasn't there. So it's like, okay, well that wasn't part of the tree. But I
Okay.
went back a few days later and I could see it again, this time sitting in the same spot from a distance. And I did have a feeling of like, I don't know if it was my own like feeling or if that was putting like stay away, but I got like shaken up that day. I'm like, I'm not going to go any closer to it,
You've never felt threatened or anything on since you've lived
Mhm.
here. Then you're just kind of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, no. The only thing the thing that scares me is when I like, I'll hear that like at night. One night I got it was, and I haven't even released this yet. It was because it was pretty intense. It was like,
Mhm.
okay, you hear this like, a grunting, and then it was like a screeching, like as if I don't know if it was having a fight. I don't know what was going on, but then it was like a thunk. I have to say, hold on, let me backtrack. I did put this on my Facebook page, but I haven't had it like through a spectrogram or anything. So, but I could tell that like something was on my deck on our deck, and that really scared me because I just don't want to look out and see something like that big, on our deck. But
well, I gotta tell you. Let's say that let's be all positive here, positive energy. Let's
Yeah.
say Bigfoot, there's a Bigfoot just minding his own business, and you're out in your property, maybe go out to your tree line or emerges from your tree line, and you got something that's really not supposed to exist.
Mhm.
8 foot, 9 foot tall, whatever, 4 foot wide, 800, 1,200 pounds, covered in hair, staring at you. I don't care if it's, Bozo the Clown.
Yeah.
You're gonna, what you're gonna do. You're not gonna be, singing happy birthday.
No, I know
You
what,
know?
because that I have seen one. It was 6 to 8 feet from me last summer, and it looked, that's what it was. As I'm walking along, I thought that I could maybe see them in the woods, like further back. So I'm just kind of like watching the tree line. And then I got my phone out because I could see better with my phone. When it's like at dusk and you can see your phone like illuminates things better if you're looking through the camera. So I'm walking along but I really couldn't find anything. Then I come to this bush, this big bush that's like hanging over. And again, it's like right in the tree line. And I take my camera and I'm scanning, and it's like pitch black in this one corner. And all of a sudden I see this a Bigfoot. It's sitting. It looked. It had its like legs. It's sitting on its butt, but it had its legs like up, like its legs brought up, gathered up, and it was like sitting like this. And then it looked like Chewbacca is the closest thing that I could say, and it was like maybe like an auburn brown color, but there was something around the eyes, like it. I don't know if it was white fur or if it didn't have any hair, if it was just
Right.
skin. I remember that white, and that's all I could see because like we kind of looked at each other, and then it put its head down, and I like screamed, and I and I didn't even I stopped recording. I don't know what I don't know. So I did not get that, and I ran and ran in the house. I didn't think that I could still run. I don't think I've ever run that fast in my whole life.
Wow.
That was, you know, it was a kind of a cool now experience, but I don't know. I don't want to walk upon that again.
Yeah.
Although maybe not.
How many do you think inhabit your backyard?
Well, 2 people have told me that there's like about 19 is
Holy smokes.
What?
yeah, like a clan. Yes. You guys know
That's
Robin.
not a clan. That's a small army.
right. Robin Haynes.
Yes. Of course.
Yeah. So she told me that, but then also it was weird. Like I had there was a psychic, Kath Matherson, and she's from Australia, and she did like a kind of like a remote read, you know, on my property. I forget, she calls it something else, but she came up with the same thing, and she did not know because I didn't tell anybody. I had not told anybody, you know, at that point. And she came up with the same exact thing. Maybe the numbers were like a little bit different. But I mean, basically like, you know, 16, 17. Wow. And then Robin said that there is another clan that's very close, that some are related, you know, and so I could have some of those coming on onto the property too. But since this has all been going on, because shortly after I had my like the experience where I was grunted at, I started a Facebook page of my own, and because of that, I've been able to talk to people that are, you know, like neighbors, like within a couple miles. It's a common thing.
So everybody, I'm imagining your house right now, and I'm guessing that your neighbors are quite far away. I mean, they're not on top. Your property spread out between your homes.
Yeah.
Correct?
Like our closest neighbors are pretty like close, but not super close. But they're pretty close. But like on the other, that's one side. But then on the other side, you know, on the one side of our house, that's where it's just all and the front. It's just all, like I said, woods. I mean, solid deep woods, and there's like ravines, and you know, and it goes on for and then even like out toward like the main road, it's just all like, if you look at, you know, you look at an aerial map, it's like, oh gosh, they could be all over the peninsula because it's so thickly wooded.
Wow.
You know, let me ask you this. You mentioned like maybe up to 19 of a big family or 2 families. We don't know, right? But so we heard the last audio. I've got to imagine, just like human beings, if you got that big a family, you know, there's bickering going on, there's yelling, there's fighting. I don't think too many humans have 19 people in their house. I mean, that's
right.
I don't, you know, I think the average family has 1.37 kids.
Yeah.
How do you divide that up? I don't know. That's what I still haven't figured out. These scientists come up with these wacky numbers. Yeah, Carterfell's got 1.76 kids. Okay, sure. Anyway, but I would think, though, with that amount, and let's say they're friendly, they appear to be friendly. You know, they got to fight and bitch back and forth. Have you heard any of that, or just a singular sound?
Yeah, that's what. No, I've you know, I have heard kind of, but one of the videos that I don't know if I sent it to you or maybe it was one of the MP3s, but it's like, it seems like a Bigfoot is having an argument with tree frogs, because it's like and then it's like that, you know, that I don't know, whatever tree frogs make, and this went back and forth, and I'm like, what? And then there is one once where it seemed like the one was angry at the other one, and then one was making like a cooing sound. That was weird. So, but you know, I think that there's a lot of like little ones and like juveniles. Like the one that I saw was definitely, I'm thinking like an older juvenile, because it was maybe 6 feet. Oh, is that?
Oh, I thought that was Bigfoot.
Yeah, I know, that sounds like a dog. That's a dog, man. No, we're not.
Well, since we had that brief interruption, I'm going to continue on. We normally take a 5-minute break, but I just want to keep the show rolling, but we have to take like a interjection for our podcast. So I want to thank everybody for coming on in. Barb, fantastic show. I want to thank Gary Spikes for becoming a BMR pirate. I want to thank Laura Pixie for donating 5 memberships. Don't forget the super chat's open. Great way to help support what we do. Please subscribe to the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube, Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube, and Texas Front Porch on YouTube. Of course, Bart Nunnally, Wednesdays in Humanoids. And of course, you know our lineup. We're on every day of the week now, Monday through Saturday. Thank you with our impromptu shows that we sometimes come up with. So turn on the alert bells, everybody. Thanks for buying the book. It's pinned in the chat.
Great book.
And I think last time I checked, everybody, I'm 9 away from 3,500 subscribers on my way. My goal is 5,000 by June 7th. That's my goal. Mark it down, Catherine Gay. Catherine says I'll get 5,000 by May. I doubt that. But thanks for that. Thanks for everybody for coming on in. If I missed you, thank you. I love and appreciate all of you for coming on in. And I think that's over 10 seconds, and we can continue on. Thanks, Barb, for coming on in. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. It's just, now it's about maybe once a week. There's something, kind of crazy. The woman that was from Australia, Kath, she told me that she feels that what she felt was that there were 3 that had been orphaned young. And so they are now like young adults, and they kind of look upon me like a mom, but not like a mom, like a mom, like a almost like a grandmother figure,
right.
And that she felt that they were very attached to me. And now there's one, and this is weird. Every single night, it looks like on the front camera, like there is one laying in the front yard, like looking right at the camera. And I have gone out and I've shined like a light. I've walked around. I've shined a light on where it is. When you shine a light on it, I can't see this with my naked eye. I can't even see it in my phone camera. It's only through the IR camera sees this.
Wow.
And I'll walk around, shine a light on it, and it like it's almost like it like disappears, or like the light cannot. I can't even explain it. Like it, it won't stay on it. It's bizarre. And it's there almost every night. Like I said, never saw it with my naked eyes, but it's definitely it.
So is it in different positions every night?
Yeah, it changes where it is, but it's still in that general area, and it will kind of change position, but typically it's just like kind of laying on its side, like oh wow. And it's weird. The other night, and I had a video and I sent it to my friend Debbie. I don't know if she's in the chat, but anyway, and she's like, oh my gosh, like it has changed position from when she remembers, and the other night it seemed like there was something sitting with it that was bigger, and I've never seen that before, but I couldn't really tell. Because what I think is that when they are there and I can like almost see them, it will all pixelate. It's like, like I don't know if they're manipulating the camera. I don't know.
They could be. Yeah. There's so many theories out there, and honestly, I have no idea. Yeah.
And another kind of cool thing, and it's funny because like that is really my main source of like whatever research watching them is my cameras. I'm so thankful. They'll and I know that they know that I'm watching, because some nights they'll just start throwing stuff at the camera. And
wow.
Okay, let me ask you this with the cameras. Many people, we've heard many times, this has happened to Krista. It's happened to Tex. It's happened to a lot of people I speak to about with the cameras. And there's energy, like, Bigfoot, obviously I do believe they put off an immense amount of energy, or they can suck energy out of, for example, batteries with video recordings or phones. Have you ever had your phone go from 100% to 0 in a matter of a few minutes when you sense or think they're around?
No, that has not happened.
Wow, okay.
No, that is one thing. Yeah, that has not happened. With the cameras, we've gone, that's like, it'll be dead. and like, well, wait, we just charged it. That will happen with the home cameras.
Mhm.
There's also we have because there's no street lights, we're out where we're at, or any
Right.
lights. So we have driveway lights, and there's one out by the road that it was new when my husband put it in, and now it goes off and on all night long, and there's no rhyme or reason. It's on a timer, so it's supposed to go off, come on at a certain time and go off at a certain time. And so now he's just going to like replace the light, and we'll see what happens. If it's,
Wow.
yeah, if that doesn't work, then I think it's them, because I think that they're out. I think that they're out there. It's right at the perimeter, the front of our property. And I think that they're out there. So.
Wow.
Yeah. In your community over there, do you think, have you guys ever gotten together and formed like a little, how you watch that one show, they have the town hall meeting where everybody comes in and tells, I forgot.
Actually, there was a question referring to that.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Mike A asked Barb, do the locals in Washington talk about Bigfoot, or is it still taboo?
No, they do, but it's not something like I wouldn't want to get together with. The neighbors next door completely know what's going on. They've never seen, they kind of like believe, but they've never actually seen, or heard or whatever, anything. And it is something that, I wouldn't want to talk to all the neighbors. And also I don't want to like lose my permission to be on that property either, so.
Sure. Have you showed any of them any of your videos or your audio?
The next right next door. Yeah. And they were, and like the husband was like, oh, you heard that at night? That's terrifying. I'm like, yeah, well, but yeah, but it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of cool, but it is.
I tell you what, I'm with you. If I was in the middle of Washington State or Michigan or wherever I happen to be, and I've got Bigfoot on my property and they're there, it's kind of like, you just mentioned something like they're giving you permission for them to be there, and maybe they don't want you to go ahead and, jibber jabber to everybody, because then they will be out. If you, and especially if you talk to a bunch of people that are skeptics and think that you're full of crap, you're going to get all these people there, and you're going to lose what you have. So in that instance, I would think I would be the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there is an area that like, I know that they are, and it's around that little wood igloo thing. And so I can, several times a week, all I need to do is go and like look into that area, and I'll just record on my phone. Sometimes I'll get things and sometimes I won't, and I mean, I have hundreds of pictures and hundreds of videos and there's nothing, but occasionally I will. But I would not want to be like, hey, come on, so-and-so, let's go in and take a look, because I think, like you said, there's plenty of places they'll just move on. If I lose I don't want to lose their trust. I also don't want to like piss them off, because
right.
That scares me too.
Yeah. So are you afraid to go outside at night by yourself, or?
No, but I'm definitely more apprehensive than I was. And that's only since I saw that one in the bushes. And so like, as cool as that was, that's kind of like, that's like, poof, it's right there. And so I am definitely a little bit more apprehensive now. And it's not even like I'm in fear for my life, but I also it's just scary. It's a little bit scary.
Right. Wow.
And like, we're very careful. Like we have a dog, and we're now we're like dog sitting my son's dog. Very careful with the dogs. I would never want to just have the dogs like loose or whatever, because I know that they sometimes they can hurt dogs. There was a gentleman in this is only like, I believe like 5 miles from here, that it's a pretty famous like 911 call that the guy is calling, and they have it, and he's like, somebody's in my yard that just killed my dog. And and so that was only about 5 miles from here.
Wow.
So now that was I'm not sure, like maybe back in the late 90s. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at them. But anyway, it's like many people have heard that. So, I think that they're definitely capable of something like that. And if I always feel like if they're threatened, they're going to do the same thing as like I would if somebody's threatening my family, right? I'm not going to just be like, oh, okay,
Right.
I
You're going to come back with vengeance. Yeah.
Yeah. Have they ever slapped your house? It's funny. The only time that I've heard like a thump on the side of my house is like 2 times when I was on a podcast and I was talking about them because the guest room that I'm in is right alongside where the woods are. But, but I have heard, I think that maybe the little ones will run around on our roof at night because you can hear that. And,
Wow.
and one night I got this weird sound that I had recorded. And I'm like, what in the world is that? What is that? Then finally my son-in-law said, do you think they're messing with the drain? Like with the, the downspouts? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Then we realized it sounds like somebody's like, like blowing into a downspout. And so that's what they must have been doing.
Wow. So. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. You kind of answer this a little bit. So in Washington State, obviously you have your property and you've had all these experiences. I know you got several more for us, but I do have to ask, when you have ventured out in Washington, you've been there many years, you visit many restaurants and such and shopping. Are people more open though? Like if you were to go into a relaxing night with your husband, you're at a local pub or whatever you choose to do.
Yeah.
It seems to me that in Washington State, that subject is not something where people are going to frown on you or say, oh, you're nuts. Does that happen? Like here in Michigan, in the city of Detroit, they'll look at you like you're on drugs. Okay.
Yeah. St. Louis too.
Or if you're in the Upper Peninsula and I go in and say, any Bigfoot around, they're not going to give you a strange look. They're going to be like, in fact, man, just go, 40 miles down yonder here. So does that, you get that vibe where you live?
I think it's definitely more open. And it's like most people, if they haven't, they know somebody or, a cousin or, and so it is funny. Like when I open up to somebody about it, a lot of people will say, oh yeah. Like when I opened my started the page, the Bigfoot page, that was when a lot of people like joined and they're like, oh, wow. I know this person or that person. Like a lot of people would tell me, stories that other people, but, and it's much more, it's like the culture out here, cause it's a lot of the like First Nations from Canada and a lot of the tribes out here. It's just part of the culture, like Bigfoot coffee and, whatever it's you
just
can
part of life out there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, yeah. And I guess that has to come from something,
No, but I asked that because I think that's pretty cool because I remember when I first had my encounter and I'm, trying to talk to people, it's almost like you're embarrassed, like you did something wrong. You feel people look at you like, whatever, dude. I mean, and it took me a long time to kind of, forget that and say, you know what, this is part of my life. And if you don't believe it, then, take a hike. Right.
I think though that Rob, yours was like so traumatic. The first one. I mean, really,
right.
Like that's like, oh my gosh, like traumatic.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I mean, mine is like slowly introduced. Like, yes, it's real.
No, yes. Mine was like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yes. And then the after effects, like with your girlfriend. I mean, that's. Oof.
Yeah,
right.
It was something for sure.
Yeah.
But you move on, and it's like I say, I like feel in a place with. If I ever were to move where I live, I definitely though would move towards closer to forest and more into in those areas, more the rural area. Because city life sometimes, everybody's so finicky.
Yeah.
And it's hustle and bustle here. People are rude. They don't know how to drive. They give you the finger. You're at a stop sign. They flip you off. Wait a minute. I just stopped, dude. They want you to, disobey all traffic laws. And I've had enough tickets in my life to know, considering my insurance is higher than my car payment.
Oh gosh.
But anyway, that's
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
No, that's that. You got a point. Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself like one with Mother Nature? Are you in tune with Mother Nature, Barb? You think maybe that's the reason why these Bigfoot are more dig hanging out basically
Yeah,
by you?
maybe. I don't, yeah. Like, I mean, I'm not like I don't go out and just hug the trees. I'm sorry if someone does that,
No,
but like, that's not like, I'm not like that, but I do love, like, I'll be like, oh, look at the beautiful tree. Look at
Right.
the leaves, the water. I love the water. So I definitely, I don't think I could even live in a, I've never lived in a big city. I don't like even going to big cities. It's just, I don't know, it makes me feel like almost like I'm claustrophobic and I don't like it.
Right.
So yeah, probably. Yeah,
Mhm.
probably.
Interesting.
have you had any experiences since you've been there, or it doesn't have to be at the house? You could be in Washington, where you kind of felt a little bit apprehensive or scared, or like, ooh. Outside, of course, you already talked about like these howls or these
Mhm.
sounds, and I get that. Anything creep up on you where you were
Um,
taken aback a little bit?
I think it was just like I said, like it's
Okay.
in that area is
Yeah.
that a couple times that I get this,
Mhm.
this strong like sense
Yeah.
of apprehension or fear, and it's like, wait, that's not coming from me, but I need to listen to that.
Mhm.
Um, I have not gone, the place that I said that I got like grunted at, since it's been a while that I won't go back into there. I'm not going to do that
Mhm.
I feel like maybe I'll know. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe they'll give me I don't know, but I feel like that now that I know that they're there, I mean, I can literally, look in and sometimes see movement. I did see, maybe I don't know how many months ago, but I saw like a little one, probably a young female. I mean, I assume it's female. I don't know if it's female. She was all black, and her hair was like sticking straight out, like from. It was kind of funny. It was like straight out all around her head,
Mhm.
almost like if you have like a person that has like a, a fur lined, hood.
Right.
That's kind of what it looked like, but it's her hair, and she had a little baby, like her hitched up like
Oh
on her
wow.
leg, and like showed it to me. Now this is from like 80 yards away, so it's not. I mean, I couldn't really see like
Mhm.
anything that much with the features or whatever, but I could tell like that's a little one because she like went like that, and and so I I know that they're there. So I like I said, I don't want them coming into my house. So I don't
Mhm.
want to go into into
Sure.
their house, you know?
Do you ever get the feeling of being watched?
Yeah. Yes. I think, definitely, like I said, out there, that night when the night that I did see the one sitting in the bush,
Mhm.
and I thought that there was something going on,
Right.
in that tree, out in the tree line. And I mean, I'm thinking, uh, some nights I do, and our dog will get like really creeped out, and
Mhm.
he's kind of like running around and like looking out the window, like literally, like kind of crying and looking out the window, and it's like I just wonder if they're, as we're sitting there watching TV, they're sitting there watching us.
Watching you
They're
watching TV. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Um, this funny thing that I'd said about the psychic from Australia. She had said to me, I she said, I feel like they're upset about something. Like this was a couple
Mhm.
months ago, right? And I said, oh, she goes, do you get that? And I was actually kind of having weird, like I think it's just like the journey with this. You go through like peaks and valleys, and it's like I
Mhm.
don't know if I want to even have this happen. Like this is so much, I love talking to people, and I love to hear about people's like experiences and their encounters. But sometimes it's so much that it's like, I don't even know if I want to have this. And I
Sure.
know that that's terrible, and it sounds like so ungrateful because people go out, and they like this is their life, going out and trying to
Right.
find, and so I know that sounds just so bad. I'm so sorry, but it's like it's when it's all the time at your house,
Sure.
it can be a lot. And I was kind of having that feeling, but then then she said to me, you know what? I got this thing. They're very upset with your daughter. Like, they're very upset with your daughter. And I'm like, my daughter? She's like, yeah, what did your daughter do? Did she do something? I said, oh my gosh, my daughter had just gotten married and she and I had some screaming fights. You know how it is with mothers and daughters.
Right.
The best of friends. I mean, the best of friends. But whoa, man, were we having screaming fights. And I said to her, do you think that's it? And she's like, oh, that's what it's got to be. She goes, you tell your daughter to be careful because they're really upset about that. And I was like, that's weird, because she did not know that my daughter, she didn't, I mean, I don't know even know she knew that my daughter got married. And if she did, she wouldn't know that we were having like screaming matches every night.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, yeah. Weird.
Wow. That's crazy. Pretty crazy. Barb's got a bunch of questions too, BMR.
We're going to roll through some of the questions. Yeah, why don't we try? Yeah, thank you for everybody for leaving some questions. Thanks to Gwen Hunt for the super chat, Tyler DJ Radio for the super chat, and of course for the people that become BMR Pirates. Pixie, 5 donations, and Gary Spike Sr. became one. Thanks. I do love you guys and appreciate that.
Aw, great.
Yep.
So yes, Crystal, you can lead away with some questions.
Okay. All right. We'll just go in order. Glenn asks, didn't Bigfoot call on one of your dogs, Layla, come? It's freaking creepy as heck on audio.
No, it wasn't. No. Yeah, no, it wasn't mine. It wasn't one of mine.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I did have something recently that, and I think I had actually sent that to you, Krista, because it was like I got a picture that looked like a Native American man in so clear in the woods. And prior to that, one of the audio that I got, a couple people were saying, wait, there's like, that sounds like a voice, like a male's voice. And on the audio that I got, it sounded like he said, go hide. But you know, who knows? Or was it a noise that sounded like a human saying go hide? But it really sounded, it really sounded like that. But yeah.
Wow. River Morris asks, question for Barb from Down Under. Do you get many smells? That's a good question.
Yes. Outside once in a while. Yeah. And it'll be like, whoo, it's so powerful. We don't have skunks here. And I don't know if like, I think they're in Washington State, but I've never seen a skunk in this area. But you'll get that like skunk smell, but or like a sewer, like a rotten garbage, and it'll just hit you, but it goes away as quickly as you know. And the one that I was close, I didn't smell anything like when I was that close to. Although I feel like I should have. What
I'm glad you bring that up, Barb, and I'm glad. Thanks for the question. Whoever that was, because when I first started doing this, back in 2018, really maybe closer to 2019, I needed time to get my stuff straight. But in the very beginning, as a novice, it was like, you're gonna get this pungent smell, this putrid smells like garbage, and people would tell me that. But I've been doing this podcast for a couple years, and I've been talking to people for well longer than 2 years. I don't know that that's necessarily an element of Bigfoot, maybe just some. I get more of the smells from the stories and people I talk to from Dogman smell like a mangy mutt.
Right.
You know, so a Bigfoot, I'm sure that, first of all, I'm sure Bigfoot has a scent. It lives in the forest, but a bear doesn't have that smell. A fox.
And the thing is too, maybe they clean themselves too, maybe when these people are smelling them, maybe they're at their dirtiest,
Yeah, because I think, like, I'm sorry, we have a lot of water sources. There's the Puget Sound, and they're
in the Puget Sound, and they're probably clean.
Yeah, but but I do think that they can like, I don't know if they put, how do I want to say, like, they can emit a smell, because one thing that there is, and maybe it's a female, I don't know, but it's like, because I have heard this from a neighbor of mine. Well, he's about 5 miles away, but neighbor, he said that there's a female around him, and every time that she's around, he can smell like a lavender smell. Well, I can smell this, like, I think it's like wild honeysuckle smell, like so strong. And
Yeah.
and there's no wild honeysuckle like right in the area. So that's the only other thing. One night in our house, in the corner, but again, it's like the back of the house, the top floor kind of hangs over where a lot of this activity is going on. And there was this terrible smell. I think my daughter smelled it first because she's the best like sense of smell. And she's like, "Oh my God, who farted? Like, what the heck?" She's like blaming my husband. He's like, "It's not me." And then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I smell it." And we're all like, we're looking around, and it was like in this corner, and it was like a bad, gross, like sewer smell. And then it went away. So I don't know. Like, was that happening under the house? And it was, I don't know,
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the longer I've talked with people on this, this is like, I've done like 200 podcasts now. Jeez. And talked to many people. I'm more in this. I've now kind of, just with the data that I've been given over a couple of years, I think it's more of a not being a smelly creature because they don't clean themselves. I think that it's something that they omit to get you away from them.
Yeah.
Could be.
They don't want you around them. So they got a gland. I just see something in chat had mentioned something similar to what I was going to say. I think they purposely can emit an odor.
Yeah.
Or you just want to just get away from. I mean, let's face it, you go by, if you're walking in your neighborhood, this has happened to me many times on garbage night. So the next morning I'll go for a walk before the garbage man,
Yeah.
And man, I go by somebody's garbage houses.
Oh man.
My Lord.
Yuck.
And I run. My walk turns into a run. So
yeah.
Thanks, William, for becoming a new BMR prior. So I think it's more a built-in, and they control that. That's my belief.
Yeah. You could have a point.
Very well.
Yeah. And where I smell this honeysuckle, it's in an area, it's a little bit far, within walking distance from my home. But what they have done is they've built, what like a beaver dam looks like, right? These things that they make looks like a beaver dam, but it's not in water. So it's definitely not a beaver. And this stuff, they're like 10 feet high and just sticks and like things piled like over and over and over. And then
there was a cat. Sorry.
And that is where I was, and I call like Bigfoot Row or whatever, because it was weird. Like all this stuff just started to appear overnight. It was, and that's where I smelled the honeysuckle so strong. So, I don't know, were there babies? I don't know.
Wow. Interesting. There's War Criminal 7 asked you, Barb, does Barb gift these creatures?
Yeah, no, I don't gift. Like I have done like trinkets. One of the things that somebody had suggested, like Mardi Gras beads. So I hung those out. Nothing, didn't touch it. One thing that they did, I'm assuming that they took, is little teeny rubber ducks, like I think I put 3 out, and one disappeared completely. I don't, it's never. And then another one disappeared but showed back up. And then there's one like out in an area that I can see it, but I don't want to go toward it because I call that like the playground. It looks like they literally have like all these little structures that it would be fun for, like, if they have little ones, it'd be fun to be playing on. So but then a little doll I put outside and a hair bow, like a sparkly hair bow. They didn't do anything with that. I have gifted like food, but not like on a regular basis. I do not feed them. Absolutely not. Mine, they seem to like green apples. I haven't done anything like with peanut butter because I guess they get kind of crazy with that. So green apples and there was like a loaf of bread that I left out. And what's really cool, and a bag of peanuts. And what was cool with the bread and the peanuts is that, okay, there's other wildlife. So, other things could have, but in both cases, they're like the bag's empty and there's a rock placed on it. So,
interesting.
Like,
they're giving you a gift in return.
Right.
Or like, they don't take this back. Yeah. Like, take this. Yeah. Like, we don't want this to be like littering, I guess, blow away or whatever. So that's kind of,
I do have to make a comment on the gifting, and this is not for you, Barb. It's in general. I don't think I'm a big fan of the gifting because I've heard many people
Mhm.
Yeah.
talk about okay. And the reason I say this is this, and it makes kind of sense. Now, I guess it depends on your clan, your family that surround you. A lot of these, some of the Bigfoot. Now we have no idea what they are, right? Some are temperamental, some are nice. When I talk about Bigfoot, I talk in terms of like a human being. There's good humans, bad humans,
Yeah.
and indifferent humans, right? So with the gifting aspect, I've heard so many people tell me they started gifting a clan of Bigfoot on their property. And they've been
Mhm.
doing it for months, whether it was peanut butter, apples,
Mm.
toys, and then everything was cool with the
Wow.
Bigfoot. They're nice with them. Then all of a sudden, they quit.
Uh-huh.
They quit for
Mhm.
a day, a week, a month. Then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, these Bigfoot who were
Nice
nice
and mhm.
started getting
Mhm.
closer,
Yeah.
started grunting a little more
Yep.
disturbingly,
Mhm. Yeah.
throwing rocks at the house, and
Mhm.
then put the families or the homeowners into a state of peril
Yeah.
where now they're all of a sudden not, oh, I got Bigfoot, how cute. Now
Yeah.
I
No.
got Bigfoot, let's get rid of them.
Right.
Right.
What are we
Because when
gonna
you
do
stop,
now?
yeah, you
Yep.
get them used to
Yep.
a certain thing,
Mhm.
then all of a
Definitely.
sudden you
I would.
stop. Now they're
Mhm.
pissed off at you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. That's. I completely agree. So
Mhm.
yeah. Um. I saw that somebody had asked about whistles. That was something that
Mhm.
was suggested, but see, that's a thing that like I don't. Is that going to go too far? Like if these things, if they like haven't ever heard a whistle, like me leaving that, is that going to, them blowing the whistles, I can like freak them out and piss them off. I don't know.
Right. Right.
So I'm a little bit afraid. I would, yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's very sparingly, and I feel like they don't with the stuff they just really don't respond. They haven't responded to it, and it's the neighbor that I was talking about that's about 5 miles from here. He said that his don't respond to any gifting, like any sort of trinkets or anything. His
Mhm.
don't. So I don't know. Is it the same plan? Is it, I mean, do they have
Mhm.
family member or like kin or whatever, and they're just like, we don't care about this stuff. I don't know. I don't
Right.
know.
You know what? Before we move on to the other questions, I have a question I forgot. I can't believe Krista or I have not asked you. Or maybe you talked about it and I just wasn't listening. I doubt it though. Any Bigfoot tracks or prints that you found?
Yes, yes, yeah. A few. There, I have never tried to cast anything because
Okay.
it's not like the substrate is so like hard and
Mhm.
and then um and then if it is soft, there's so much junk in it because
Right.
and then I'm like, what am I mean, I don't really need to. I'm just not a big
Sure.
cast, but
I don't think I would cast anything either,
yeah,
but I'd be cool to see one. I forgot. I
yeah,
can't believe I didn't
it
ask you
is.
because
It
I'd
is.
love to.
Yeah.
Oh my God, really quick off the subject. Tex bought me a cast of the Patty Patterson Gimlin film.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Back 2 years ago. Yeah,
Cool.
it's sweet. I love it. Now it's a paperweight because
Yeah.
I was cleaning the shelf where I have, and it was on top of the shelf. It fell, and I have a wood floor where it was over. And
Oh no.
yes, it smashed into a
Oh
million
man.
pieces,
Oh no.
except I can't get it right now.
Oh.
Except I do have like this much of it left with all the toes.
Oh
The
Oh.
rest
wow.
of it's like gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
that would,
so I'm
yeah.
not into casts. I mean, I don't need to see
Yeah.
any more casts in my life. I do like to see them naturally embedded in the
Mhm.
forest.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a couple that I have found in softer like dirt, whatever. And like
Mhm.
I would show to my, like, for instance, in the front of the property, there was some, and I said, what do you think? And my husband's like, I don't think that was probably me. So he like takes his foot and he's trying to like press into the dirt. And then he's like jumping up and down to try to get his depression as deep as this is. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't know, Barb, this, it could be,
Right.
so
Wow.
that's cool. Um,
Yeah. Moon at Noon asks, "How big is your property, Barb?"
it is a, probably over an acre. Yeah, it's over an acre, maybe
Mhm.
1.5 acres. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Danny's dropping your links. Thanks to Danny. He's always on top of it tonight.
Pancho Sorge asked at Bigfoot Michigan Rob, has Barb given a proximity as to where her property is? He might have missed where you said it was earlier.
Yeah, it's in we're in Washington State in Pierce County.
There you go. And it looks like we got through all the questions because the last one was the whistles. So
yeah, and I noticed that the one person had said about that somebody had showed them how to like use the whistles, and then they liked. I don't know. Maybe it's something I'll do. I don't know. Maybe in the summertime I'll go out and maybe in the woods and whistle. I don't know.
Right.
I'm so afraid of like rocking the boat. Maybe when it's never whistle in the bush at night. Yes, that's true. Yeah, I hear that.
Let me ask you this, Barb. Do you see these frequently? Like, what's your frequency? Like once a month, twice a month, during summer only, fall, winter only? And I know where you live, it don't snow.
Yeah,
probably.
Very rarely. Yeah, very rarely. I'd say once a month. I try not to make too much of a pest of myself. But I will go out maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And I just have to look, like I said, in at that area. But maybe once a month, because I feel like sometimes they will show up on video or in pictures, but a lot of the times they don't. What's the weirdest thing is that when they'll show up is that how close that they are. It's really, it's like, oh my gosh, this is really freaky. How close they are. Cool. You don't see them. You don't hear, like maybe hear like a rustling in the crunching, but it's
Wow.
Yeah, have you ever set up any trail cameras out in your property line?
Yeah, and then nothing is. It all dies down too. All the activity just dies down. My husband had a ladder out, and he thought he was going to be tricky and put a ladder out on our back deck because we were doing, like I said, we're renovating, so that's not unusual to have ladders, around. And he said, I'm gonna put the game camera. I'm gonna attach that to the ladder, and they're probably not gonna. Maybe they won't notice. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, we'll see. Well, didn't get anything on the game camera, but they were just like relentlessly. Every time I was looking at the camera, they were throwing like pine cones and little pebbles and stuff at it. So they were not happy. They knew. It's so bizarre, but yeah, they knew.
Wow. That's crazy. I still got those other 2 audios.
Put them up, throw them.
Thank you.
There's a lot of people coming in now. We got like 90 people now. Put in the other creepy one because I don't know what the other 2 sound like. If you don't mind, we'll roll them all.
Yep, I got 2 of them. So, all right, here's the first one. You'll put it up there. I'm just going to share it, okay?
Okay.
All right, hold on.
And then Barb give us the background after it's done, of course.
All right. Are you ready? Put it up.
Yeah, I don't. There we. Okay.
Yeah, and we don't, and that's one that I have on my YouTube channel. We don't have a goat. There's no goats around. So
no,
but it
almost
sounds like a goat.
Like, I don't know, almost like they're kind of a guttural whisper.
Yes, and that creeps me out. And I think that may have been one that I literally just had to turn off my phone.
I think it sounded like I didn't hear another communication back to me, and I could be wrong. It sounded like he was talking to himself, like he was perturbed with something.
Right.
He sounded irritated.
But
Yeah.
that, did you hear that? Like, it was like a goat sound. It sounds just like a goat, like and I wonder if it was like talking to that thing, which wasn't a goat, maybe,
Right.
Something pretending like, or, but yeah, you're right. And that like, like you can hear that, like and that's so
Yeah.
like creepy. And that is one thing that really, it to hear that, like the depth of, and whatever, it was really creepy. Somebody had said one time that I had heard that they supposedly have like, have you ever heard this, like glands in their like neck or something like that they can I don't remember what exactly, but anyway, but I'm like, that I can see that, because there's something with that, like you can hear that breathing, like
Right. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
there's another quick
if,
question.
if that was up on my window at night, I'd be kind of
yeah, I mean, and these are I'm getting them from from the cameras that they're on the house, they're attached to the house. One's on the top.
That's awesome. We have a nice little system there.
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen orbs, not with my naked eye, but I have seen them on the cameras. And like you'll have, I know, like certain fog coming in, marine layer will have a bunch of orbs, but that's not what these are literally like almost like like act, they'll like come in and like swirl around and then like leave, things like that.
I was going to ask you too, being surrounded the Puget Sound, do you get fog from the ocean rolling in?
Yeah.
And do you think that a lot of times you get closer to your house in the cover of the fog?
They
Have you
could.
ever noticed?
They very well could.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. You want to play this last video, Rob?
Yeah. Is it up? Nope.
Not yet. I'm getting ready to. So,
Polly, yeah.
Yep. When you
that's why I pay. That's why I pay Krista $32 an hour.
All right.
All right. I'm sharing. Let's see. Continue.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know really what to make of that.
One. Yeah,
Wow.
that was that cooing, and weird, right? Like
that is weird.
And then you could hear the other. I think I don't know if it's the same one, but that like guttural, like grunting, and it seemed like maybe, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Can you play that one creepier one real quick, one last time, Krista, or no? Or did you get rid of it already?
Was it the one I just played before?
The first one, the very first one, at the beginning of the show.
I X'd out of that.
That's okay, Krista.
I'm sorry.
Well, they can. If you, I have a little YouTube.
Yeah, no, what
Barb Hartman. So if anybody is welcome to.
And it's fine. It's fine, Chris. That's cool. Anybody joining late when you rewatch this, as most of you probably will. Yeah, there's the first one was really definitely that was it was something.
Yeah.
Krista got goosebumps. So Krista does not scare.
Nope.
She sees dead people, for God's sake.
Not with ghosts, or not with ghosts. I'm not scared. Bigfoot are a little different. Paranormal Pixie asked you, Barb, has Barb had other paranormal activity around her property?
A little bit, but I had a really bad experience with a house I lived in that was a haunted house, and then that thing like followed us to another house, and so ever since then I've been very careful, with blessing and I pray the perimeter, and just like nothing is allowed here, and so really we haven't had a lot of just a few things. One of the things was that picture of that that potential, like Native American.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a cool capture myself.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, and it's a huge. I mean, they've lived here within the last even 100 years. So, so definitely could have been.
Pretty crazy stuff. Wow. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous because you can just go right outside. I got to travel hundreds of miles.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, you don't have to. Although let me ask you this: we didn't even ask you that. You did mention it earlier, actually. Where your property, you have a lot of cool trails off the property. That's where you found your imprint. Did you find your tracks on the property or when you're on trail?
No, they're on our property.
So yeah, all this is okay.
Yeah,
so this is great. Yeah.
Wow.
And a lot of it is under the house, which is there is some like gravel and a little bit in there, and then toward the front of the house. But I really think that they sit under like the house at night because there is a large area. Like if it's raining, sometimes I think that they'll be under there. They kind of gather under there, but I don't even know if they're affected, by rain. I can't. Who knows? I mean, but
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I heard someone's told me that they've got a special coating on their
on
their skin that repels like oil that repels water, rain, snow.
An interesting thing that when my son-in-law came to visit us, my daughter and son-in-law, the family came to visit us, and they were here for my daughter's wedding in November, and he was excited because he brought a FLIR camera, and so he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna get them on, I'm gonna see them." And so one night, so all we could see were like little, like around, almost like heads moving, but he couldn't. That's all that you could get on the FLIR, and there wasn't like their bodies. So I don't know. Is there something that that they have, to like mask that? I don't know.
Right.
Some sort of, or were they just? It's so deep in the brush because could have possibly been.
And just like we were talking about the smell, that perhaps they do that on purpose. There's so many things that we don't know. Some people know more than I, and some people know less, and that's why we do this. That's why I love doing this.
Yeah,
and there's always something. Every show I do, there's always something different that comes to mind. And with that being said, we're coming up on the end of this. Barb, where can people find you?
Well, I on Facebook, I have No Drama, Bigfoot, and Cryptids. And on YouTube, it's Barb Hartman. And then it's like, also No Drama, Bigfoot, and Cryptids. And I do a podcast on the Grizzly on the Hunt channel. He asked me since he had heard about what was going on about a year ago. And so I do a show on there, 2 shows. One's it's like a panel show on Wednesdays, and then on Thursdays is the show that he and I do together. And I love that because I've learned so much, like you said, from talking to people. And it's weird when somebody tells you something and it's like, oh my gosh, that's happened, or I've heard that, or I've seen that, not thinking that has anything to do with Bigfoot. But yeah, I've learned so much.
Yep.
I say it all the time. I learn things every day, every time I do a show. And, I also, not only from you, Barb, and all the guests, and of course, Krista and all our crew, I learn things from people in our chat room with their great questions.
Definitely,
I got to tell you, and a lot of podcasters say this because they're playing up to their chatters, but we've been saying this now for a year. We have one of the best groups of chat people. They are intelligent. They pay attention. They don't sit around and gossip about, the weather.
Or like they're on there to be like trolls or something. That's
they pay attention to the shows. They ask great questions, and I love the people in chat. And for people today that supported me, you all support me, don't get me wrong, but special thanks for the people that contributed: DJ Tyler Radio, Gwen Hunt, William Bays, Gary Spikes, and Paranormal Pixie. Thanks for the memberships and super chats. That's always so awesome of you guys. Love each and every single one of you. And for those that have done it in the past, I thank you too. And Thursday, Krista, I ask you this every time and you never come back with an answer. I know you got Josh as your co-host, but what do you have? I think you got a pretty cool guest coming on Thursday.
I do. This Thursday we have Wild Blackburn.
Black.
Oh, that's cool.
Gonna have him drop now. Talk
Gotta
about the audio. Are you gonna drop the audio from his band? I wonder.
I don't know. I'll message him and see if he'll send me some.
I met him in Texas, and
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He actually he has his own hot sauce, and he knows I'm a hot sauce guy. So him and I
that's cool.
We're at some establishment, and we got into the speak, and he brought a couple bottles out, of which I bought one and tasted it. Yeah, you got to get that online. So you got to ask him about that. Well, in fact, I'll ask him. I'll be, in the chat, or I'll be floating around somewhere. So that'd be a great show.
Yeah. Oh, and then the week after we have Thomas Winterton from Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker Ranch. This Thursday, me and Brandy. Yes, I forget. She's working. She'll be joining me. Brian Barber from the chat. He's got some Bigfoot.
Oh, he's great. Oh my gosh.
Great. Yeah. He should be on Thursday afternoon at 1:00 with me and Brandy.
Yes.
Brian's been trying to get on. Well, I've been trying to get him on, and finally, I told him get back with me after Christmas. That's what I've been telling everybody. But this was a great show, Barb. And Barb, please leave me, Barb. Seriously. Leave me all your links. Message me. I'll make sure I get them up in this show so everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate
and Danny's been dropping the links too pretty well. But
thank you so much.
Another 1,000 people end up watching this. So.
Yep. And I have not. I did see one question. I've not been bluff charged, and I don't know any. But I don't know anybody that's been in this area anyway. So yeah.
So that is really awesome. Barb, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Krista, thank you. Yes, you're welcome, Barb. And Krista, thanks for your technical expertise.
Yes.
I don't know how expertise it was, but it worked.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you got a rung up on me. I'll tell you that.
Me too. Oh.
I've got a new exit video for everybody.
Awesome.
Thanks to everybody in chat. Thanks
Thank
for coming on in. Thanks for people listening later. Subscribe to Bigfoot, Mr. Rob, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast, Texas Front Porch, Bartonelli, and Humanoids. Till next time, BMR for Kristen and Barb, we are out.
Have a good night.